Today, I'm going to record a lecture on Zoom because I want to show and share my screen for good presentation. It's very important. And today's topic is all about emotions and mistakes and errors and how the brain create memories and how we do mistakes and how we can get out of this loop of mistakes. I want to start my presentation. As I explained before, there's a three ingredients of emotion and how we structure our emotions. And there is involve body, brain, and meaning. As we know, we all born blind. That means baby born blind, and we blind with everything in terms of our physical, visual court, visual we don't see. We hear some noises, recognize something, and we're also emotionally blind. And this blindness actually comes with us within our life. We open our eyes, we learn, we explore, we learn emotions, we learn things around us, items, and they discover in the world. And this is process. So it's not instant moment. And of course, all that bring us sort of emotions. And as I mentioned in my previous lectures, majority of them, 70%, are negative. So it's a fear and all that overwhelming us, a big journey of exploring and everything was around us, improving our vision. So today is all about vision, what we see, and not only visual, it's emotional. It's what's going on. It's the world in general. Of course, first of all, and the first learning coming from our body. And body still stays number one from our emotions. We should be able to identify where this negative emotion come from. Is it because of thirst? Is it because of hunger? Is it because essential, toiletry needs? Because all that, bowel movements, thirst, hunger, sexual desires will bring us aggression, fear, and all these quite powerful, very strong emotions. When we're talking about mental well-being and general stress, we need to get out from our frame a little bit further from the body. And we need to exclude that the stress coming from our body. So it's very important to be able to identify your negativity and be able to feel yourself where this aggression or anxiety or fear come from basic biological needs. Then our brain starts to predict with different words, motivation. Motivation, what next you should do. So you need to eat, you need to find the food or restaurant, or you need to work, or you need to go to the toilet, or you need to drink, or you need to go and socialize and get closer to get this basic, I would say, human essential needs. And then, of course, these predictions brain will try to analyze what's going on. So where are you? How far away you're from food, and trying to find out the mistakes and errors. So we have something's going on, and then the brain constantly trying to analyze where you can get and how you can fulfill your needs. And of course, the third ingredient of how we build our emotion in concept of machinery is our memory. Memory in the way how we did get resolve this issue, resolve this problem before, or somebody teach us how we can do that. So different words, you need to remember, you feel what your brain expects based on your body and concepts, everything what you learn from your birth. Our brain predicts and is going ahead of us, ahead of our understanding and our consciousness. With different words, believe what I'm saying you now, it's in the past, and my brain already predict my future, what I'm going to say few seconds, or not for microseconds, with different words, some time ahead me what I'm saying. And all the body, everything get ready and predicts in terms of my motions, how I will pass this information to you about my voice, about my body language, everything. It's like so many things going on. And of course, it's trying to find out what will be an error. If I do that, will be normal. What movement, what actions, what sounds, what voice. And my organism depends on, of course, on the environment we're now. So make sure there is no any sound. I'm alone. I can concentrate on the lecture. And I'm actually don't have any other aggressive needs, like I'm not hungry, I'm not thirsty. And my physiological, biological needs are covered before I start doing something. And of course, the brain doesn't just react. So it just prediction, and there's no approximately what's going to happen. And emotions are shaped before we feel them. So we just don't feel them yet. They're already there. It's not only about us. Okay, I'm going to experience that. No, it's already decided before our consciousness, we understand we're going to experience that. And the more accurate predictions your brain will make, the more stable will be your emotion. And this is the stress comes from. If you're not, no, your brain doesn't know how to predict your nearest future. If you don't know how to plan, if you don't understand that you need to eat before you go to work, or you don't plan your actions in advance, or you don't have enough of knowledge of what to do or how to do, your emotions won't be stable. You will go like glucose, then you eat incorrectly, up and down. And as a result, they will develop anxiety, depression, sleep deprivation, extra weight, so many abnormalities that early and later affect our health. We have reality, what's going on, and we have error, mistake. And brain as computer trying to find the way where and what actions we will do to minimize this error based on our values, based on our experiences from the past, based on our knowledge, and trying to predict what will be the best thing to do. That's why we always need to see on actions, not on words. And these words and actions, they don't align, there is a huge error, and we need to analyze why it's happening. Gaslighting is intentional destroy of reality. Very dangerous thing, very dangerous. Someone deliberately, intentionally trying to destroy your reality, and your brain has to adapt, not what they see or feel, but to some verbal information. That's why we should be very extremely careful about the verbal or non-physical, not reality actions information. We need to verify it, and trust is very important. Now, on this picture, I want to ask you, what do you see? What pattern do you recognize? Black and white, but can you see something? Can you name it? What is that? This is called experiential blindness. You probably start imagining different things and trying to identify what exactly it is. But now I'm going to show you what exactly it is. It's a snake. It's a yellow and black snake. Now you can recognize the head, the body. This is what we call experience and prediction shape that shape our emotional perception. If you'll be interested by this topic and you start to read different scientific books, you will see this image. And you know what? Because you saw already and experienced this with me, you will know and you will identify this exactly. And even if you forget about the lecture, it will be much, much easier for you to guess what that could be. Now I want to go to unintentional blindness or selective attention. If you saw this video before, you probably know that your attention will go to gorilla. But when you see this video first time, and if you Google invisible gorilla study, a short video, you can show your friends or family and do this exercise with them, how many times they bowl passes from the person to person. And majority of the people wouldn't be able to notice gorilla because the attention and they have a task, their concentration, and their motivation is to win and give correct answer. How many times the ball being passed and they counted, they concentrated on one thing and they don't see what's going on around us. And this is a topic, this is an era, this is blindness, what we all have. We're concentrating on one thing, very important for us for different reasons, or they're going for the stage, or they're reading the book, or they're driving the car, or they're listening, or they're thinking about something, and as a result, we don't hear that our opponent is talking about. It's very important to understand that, first of all, is normal and healthy response for all of us, and how we can train and where this blindness come from. We are back to our lecture, to the screen. That was invisible gorilla. That was study of invisible gorilla. And you can, so that means is unintentional blindness or selective attention. We put our attention on something one and they don't see anything around us. If you don't expect something happened or something coming into your life, you don't see it. This study shows people often miss major changes when focusing elsewhere. And emotionally, this means we miss emotional cues of our brain isn't primed to detect them. But if you're going to watch this video a second or the third time, you recognize gorilla and you see the gorilla, and you're able after that to shift your attention and on gorilla and on movement of this gorilla and on the ball and on the people and a lot of different items. And more time you're watching this film or this study, more information and more attention you can split into different things. So what we should do is only practice and enhance our experience. So what happened when our brain predictions go wrong? For example, you count, you were so concentrated and you missed the count because they passed the ball so fast. Of course, you get upset. You done an error. It was not 15, you count 14 or 17, you done mistake. And when they do this mistake, our predictions, or we get upset. It's a little bit sad for us. And when predictions don't match reality, what happened? They do the small errors. These errors tweak memory, so change a little bit, change something. But when these errors are big or very relevant, you lose a lot of money, or it's cost these mistakes done some damages to your health or well-being of your family, then form new, very important memories. When you remember about childhood, you probably know that you remember some very important aspects, very significant for you because they're super relevant, and analyze them. Think what bring these memories to you and why this event was so emotionally rich. Record them. Try to think why, what was importance in there, because in this moment some large mistakes, large error happened, something didn't mismatch, something where you could not understand what's going on, and you're trying to find these questions, or it was a lot of doubts, what's going on. Mistakes feel threatening, and mistakes bring us negative emotion, and brain can match old predictions to new data. That's why it's so hard when you get older to learn new things, because our brain already creates this prediction route. What we know, they're used to it, and it's very hard for us to change. Now, I want to talk, what is that? Psychological blindness. Psychological blindness, it's not physical blindness and they lose another vision, but it's more mental and emotional. And this is number one driver to stress. Life's worst mistakes often stem from what we refuse or fail to see. We must see and find the types of blindness that govern perception, our choices, and our character. Because that sort of attention or motivation, our values, our moral, driving us and creating this psychological blindness. The most common and the most powerful blindness, we call it willful blindness. When we deliberately choosing comfort over truth, the truth we choose not to see, we decline, we ignore, we violate, we avoid, and run away. We deliberately avoiding or ignoring facts, situations, realities that feel painful or inconvenient for us or threatening. And more important, usually, it is because we need to act, we need to do something, we need to change the life, and we don't want to get out of comfort zone. And they choose absolutely aware about our choices. We know it's going on, but they ignoring red flags in our partner, in our workplace, on our health. Because so many signals, but we blank them. And denying systemically, we removing our personal responsibility. We're saying, I'm not responsible. It's somebody else. I see everything, but I'm ignoring it. I'm avoiding it. I don't want to do it. I want the life to sort everything out smoothly. I want to go by flow. I want to trust my destiny. That is willful blindness. Destiny is there. Destiny is showing you facts. Destiny showing you realities. Destiny asking you to act, but we choose to stay blind. And what happened? We enter in cognitive dissonance because brain, your vision, cortex, your ears, they see it. The information already get delivered to the brain. You hear that, you see it, you experience, but you personally, with absolute awareness of the fact, choose to deny and ignore it. Your brain cannot find it and you get stressed. As a result of these prediction errors, what should be quite obvious what needs to be done, we take decision to ignore and our brain get stressed because knowing what to do, just don't do it. Action is not happening. There is motivation, reasoning, and fear of change or conflict. So we don't want to change. The human just trying to find the easiest and the laziest way. We cannot notice what we refuse to admit. So you can't see before you admit it. Here we call and we send people on therapy. CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy. With different words, we're teaching people need to teach. We call it therapy. I don't know why it's called therapy. This is a basic knowledge of our biology, on the way how we perceive the world and how we ignore information what around us. And this is deliberate action, avoidance, ignorance, and doing nothing, believing that God will sort this out, the destiny, the time will heal, or something will happen. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen. So, parental blindness, this is what we see before in terms of our snake. We see what we have seen before. If you didn't see the pattern, you don't recognize it. You need to learn about it. Somebody needs to come and tell you what is what. This is a tree. That is the car. That is the house. And you learn it. And then you can identify and name it. failing to recognize or interpret something because it doesn't match our past experience. If you never experience, never see something, it's absolutely normal of not knowing that. And you say, I don't know, but I'm happy to learn because I noticed this now, then being explained in a lecture at school, at university, or in social media, whatever you are, then you know that. You learn something new, and that will, with different words, improve your vision. You see better, and you can more control your emotions because you have a base, you have a knowledge. We don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. So that means we will look in every single situation differently. What I see, even item, even picture, even nature, even the weather every single day, our perception and feeling and emotion towards this weather will be absolutely different, and the mood. So much information because we all have this different experience and different knowledge. Our physiological blindnesses and different types I would like to share is moral blindness. First of all, do you know your moral? Do you live by your moral? And failing to perceive ethical consequences will bring this stress. Because if you don't follow if you follow unethical orders without questioning, is that right thing to do or is wrong thing to do? Just get blind, just do it. Why? Because somebody does it. And you follow the everyone else because you blind to your own moral, because you're not asking this question, is that right thing to do? Is it right thing to steal? Is it right for you to cheat? Is it right for you to kill someone? Is it right thing to lie? Or is it against your moral? Is good for you or it's bad? If somebody does it around you, are you doing the same? Or you open your eyes to your own moral? Changing blindness. Sometimes we decline to accept the things changing, that we getting older, they're growing, they're learning, and we see much more than they see before. It's absolutely normal to understand that person at the age of 10 see the world with one eyes, one, if you like, lens, age of 20 differently, age of 40, age of 16, 70. And of course here, older they get, experience and our knowledge will shape how resilient and how, I would say, how aware we'll be and how blind we will be. Less we learn, less we study, less experience you're going through, the more childish and more immature you will stay as a child. Because every single life, every single year, and every single day require you to learn something new, to reduce your blindness, to be a little bit more aware of what's going on, to absorb information and to feel and control your emotions. With every single day, we should be able to control our emotion better. But in modern life, what's happening by age of 30, we're so overwhelmed by so many different events. We get the most irritated and the most stressed. That shouldn't be this way. Why stress should be the child? Because he doesn't know, he doesn't understand the world yet. He's dependent on somebody else's opinion, mainly the guardian or the parents and carer. But older we get, more mature we should be and take these glasses, pink glasses out of us. In attention blindness, that was invisible gorilla case study. Then they're not seeing what we're not paying attention to. If you're concentrating on your work, you can't hear. And here as well, there is a difference in terms of hemispheres, for example, about women and men. Women actually much better in terms of concentrating and communicating, doing different things together. Why? Because the distance between hemispheres, women have much shorter, different words, more connection in comparison to men. And women, but men, better concentrate on one thing. So for men is, I would say, more natural to have inattention blindness, not seeing other things and not paying attention when he's concentrating in some task. So if a man reading a paper, for him it will be much, much harder to concentrate and shift his attention to something else. Woman, on the other hand, is better in this. Yeah, so she can hear, yeah, because nature and biology for women is constantly designed to hear the baby, to see and get distracted. Because women need to feed the baby and she's responsible. She's the main caregiver for next generation comparison to men. And men, on the other hand, should be very good in terms of concentration of hunting, to concentrate on one thing and not to get distracted. And here we need to distinguish, separate it, and understand that if you're man or male, concentrate on one thing, his response and his reaction won't be the same comparison to women. And we need to distract and drag attention to something else. Yeah. So that and attention blindness happening, for example, when they're concentrating, driving and texting, or driving and talking and thinking about something. They have this switch, we can't concentrate on the road, and might be fatal for someone. It can cause a lot of trouble and a lot of issues, a lot of deaths, or even imprisonment. Be careful about it. Take it seriously. Follow the law and regulations, because law and regulations designed to prevent human from these mistakes, from this blindness, and make our life a little bit, open our eyes. It's easy to say it's by law, but they have deep explain why the law made and why they need to we're forcing this law. Emotional blindness. Again, it's our inability to recognize our own feelings and emotions, our gut feeling. And the gut feeling, of course, coming from the gut. Microbiomes here is important and main and basic human body biology here playing a crucial role. We need to make sure the gut is healthy and everything with getting into us is healthy before we learn how to recognize emotions, as a lot of emotion coming from our body. So we need to distinguish and separate. This is emotion. That is my biological needs, essential needs. That's why I experience certain emotions. And this is our experiences and our emotions. They need to learn how to identify them and how to name them. It's very important. If you can't describe your emotion, what you experience right now, you have to practice. You have to practice every single day or after event. What do you feel? Analyze. I'm hungry. What do you feel? What is your emotion now? If you think about different things. When you eat, well, there is a study, I think the Judge Parole study. The scientists analyze how likely judges will give parole to prisoners before and after lunch. And chances to get parole before lunch was reduced by 30, I don't remember, 40%, quite significantly, than after the lunch. So people were lucky being after the lunch, their emotions and positivity of judges was much, much higher than they've been hungry. So that's mean before lunch, parole been denied, and after lunch, judges, they're much more positive, much more relaxed. That also mean that when you want emotionally get more positive emotion, make sure you approach someone after emotional needs and basic biological needs been met. So it's fed, not thirsty, and there's no any biological restrictions to get into emotion. And name it. So when you say how are you, say I'm fine, but actually you're not fine. You're not fine. Open your eyes. Don't be blind. Open that. Open your emotion. Identify them and name them. That is a skill. It's not coming out of blue. You have to practice that. Blind spot biases. Then thinking others are biased, but not for yourself. Blind spots we have in the car, even when you see, we all have these blind spots when we see it. And the only way to identify your blind spot is to ask somebody. Remember the 5 people we're talking about. These 5 closest people, the people you trust the most. the people who loves you, who cares about you, and they're telling you the truth. Ask these people about your blind spots. You do something wrong. What do you think? What I'm doing wrong? I'm stuck here. I constantly seeing that the pattern. I can't recognize the pattern. I don't see it. Can you explain me what is pattern? Is a snake? Is a rat? Or what is that? I don't see it because that is a blind spot for me. And listen what they say. Have a group. Ask the group, what do you think? How was this? How was that? Get feedback, negative feedback, clearly. Or what is the issue? I don't see it. And be open to that. That you think you're rational, but you might be absolutely not rational. And you might be emotional. And you don't know where these blind spots, where your blindness come from. And of course, it's ego blindness, the last one. Not last one, they can probably name a lot of them. And scientists, in 10 to 20 years, we have a more blindness or some new blindness will develop due to the culture and technologies or artificial intelligence. But ego blindness is everything is about us, myself, and I, our ego. The believing that you're always hero, everything what you do is right, and your actions is always right. And everything what you do, you're not harming others. Again, is blindness. Is not true. You just don't see it. You don't know how to recognize them. Which form of blindness is the most dangerous, and which form of blindness bringing us into the loop? Of course, we can talk about a lot of different neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and negative emotions. Here's all about emotions. And it's willful blindness. It's the most dangerous blindness because it's conscious. You perfectly know. You got all the information. You can list everything. You see it and you decline to accept that. It sustains denial in areas we know we need to face, but we choose not to face. For example, we know you eat too much and you need to start to exercise, but you have a sedentary lifestyle and you don't do anything about it. That is willful blindness. You deny consequences. You hate your job. You understand your relationship falling apart or your partner is cheating or not faithful to you. You just pretend you don't see it. You don't bring the communication to the table. Why? Because we hurt your ego. Because they maybe are against your moral to accept the fact of theft, the fact of cheating or other facts. And you just create this barrier of, just gonna easier for me to deny it. However, it's the biggest mistakes, and such approach will bring just not only stress, but bring the chain of issues and the problems, and after that need to be treated. The more willful blind you will be, will continue longer you will continue that blindness, the more problems you will have, and will have huge collapse. Will be disaster for your health, mental health, stress, family, relationships, your work, everything. And just after that, you say, oh, so many things happening on one go. Did we notice that when something bad happens, it's not only one? You know why? Because finally, you start to see the problems. Finally, you've been a little bit shaped by one, and then another one get your attention, and another one get your attention, because you've been blind. You ignore them for so long, for so many years. It's not like a bad thing happening. It just finally flashed. And probably people will know around, people will see, because you had this blindness, isn't it? We all have it. Usually, willful blindness come together with different blindnesses, so it's like a package, beautiful package together. And what usually the best thing, how the human, the most powerful and usually preferable way to do it is start drinking, gambling, and addictions. addictions because it's a great way to get the dopamine loop, then to sort out and open your eyes and do something about it. Did you notice that majority of marriages, majority of people get married, they usually don't have addictions and they develop all that because they close their eyes. They become this deliberate, conscious blind. And what they do, because it hurts, they understand what's going on perfectly. Brain understands. Brain gets so stressed. They want to find something. They're eating too much extra. Binge eating developing from teenage ages, for example, or drinking, drugs, addictions, and this come to the loop of absolute and full collapse. The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, but is illusion of knowledge. It's an illusion that you think you know everything and you don't need to learn, you don't need to study because you're just born so smart to have a good genes. And those people truly believe that they're super smart. We all think they're smart. Unless we don't have the low self-esteem or traumas, then we think not. But that's illusion. We all have this illusion. We all blind in some sort of areas because we can't know everything. It's not going to happen. How to break this pattern? We need to practice honesty, radical honesty with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Just accept the things, open your eyes, and write them down. You have to welcome feedback, even mainly from your relatives, to find out what I do wrong. What do you think? What is the hardest or the most spotted part that I don't see in myself? And accept this harsh truth. Be honest to yourself. That's happened. Accept that. Yes, I've been aggressive, or my action been XYZ because this happened. You might be not aware. You might feel something wrong. We all have something, all without exception. You should be able to identify it, name it. So what's going on? I have a high blood pressure, or I'm hungry, or I have an infection information process. And this information process would bring us negative emotions more. I have addictions that causing me these irritations. Embrace discomfort, accept that, accept you have addictions, go for the help, talk about your friends, your family, your loved ones, because they care the most, these 5 people. And open this doorway for the growth, because without pain, without accepting where you're closing out your eyes, where you're blind, that actually accepting your mistakes. And develop metacognition. Metacognition, you're getting out of your comfort zone. It's not comfortable. You have to go in a windy, it hurts. You know, it's really so many things, uncomfortable things you need to go and learn. And we always think, oh my God, I finished school. And what do you do? What we usually, I think we all do. I finished school, university. I finished my first medical school. I got my final exams again, never ever again. And then I finished another one and another and another. And now I accept I have to learn to the end until I breathe, because I get wiser. I understand so more things, and I smile much more because I see much more than before, and I'm doing it. So, and we all have to do that. Blindness is human, is natural. We're all born blind and they develop. They start, and the thing what we see is a choice. You can choose to see, we can choose ignore. The more we choose to see, the more free we are. So we feel with freedom, and wiser we become. Without seeing things and pretend the truth is not relevant to the context, you lie to yourself. Then there's no wiseness, and is a journey to nowhere. What questions you need to ask yourself, record them, and how you practice, because practice, only practice. It's hard to start with. It's a lot of things, after medicine. To heal your life is a long journey. Mainly how far you've gone. I don't know how far you've gone, how much you ignored in your life, how blind you are. Learn it, discover. It's never late. What truth might I be avoiding right now? What you lie about? Because it's just comfortable. isn't it? You come to say, oh, the most beautiful, I am the most beautiful in the world. And I don't care what you say, it's not because I know. No, can imagine you're not the most beautiful, not the most intelligent. There is someone more intelligent than somebody is more beautiful, and beauty and intelligence is very hard to predict. Or you think you're the richest or funniest one. What truth you might be avoiding right now? Name it. We all have it. If you say you don't have it, oh, I leave it because the most I accepted the truth, and now only always saying the truth. Hide already, yeah. What have I been too certain about too quickly? For example, you might say, I was kind, or always, I don't know, it was fun, and you have some certain about, you're 100% sure that you do the right thing. Are you sure it's very not the too quick conclusion about something or about someone? Do you know the person good enough to say he's your best friend? How easily or how much information you got about the event or about certain things? And who might help me to see what I cannot see? Here is very important, your friendship. Here, tell me who is your friend, I'll tell you who you are. It's very hard. Mainly for women, I found a woman and a man, they have a different concept on friendship. And it's very important to understand who is that person in my life who will push me further to the growth, to see the world better, to understand where I need to improve, how to get out, who's pushing me out of this comfort zone. Maybe tough, but this person, this right person in your life. Relationships is not only about these dopaminic happy moments, then everything is great. Relationships, it's pain. It's the growth together from discomfort, from conflict, from resolution destructive, from the way to find solution, how we can exit from there and when, what's the time, what's the plan. Do you accept the changes? Do you see the changes? I see you're changing. Do you see I'm changing? Where are we changing? Are we going to the same direction or are we going to opposite directions? And what kind of discomfort you experience when you've grown through this growth is painful. It's hard because you need to choose growth, not fun. Fun actually is very dangerous, addictive thing. Everything would cause you laugh and fun, clubbing, casino, nightclubs, karaoke, and also having fun, alcohol is very, very dangerous because this fun getting you away from the truth. And 70% of life, yeah, it's very hard and stressful truth that we just want to mask. If you see modern life getting more and more about fun and very expensive fun, to go to cinema, they have look, restaurants have fun, they don't cook, they don't go in for the hard bit, they go to enjoyment and go in this hedonic part straight away. And this is very dangerous culture, super dangerous culture. They believe that we're born to enjoy the life. They're born, they're super intelligent, don't need to know anything, they don't need to hard work, don't need to study, they're perfect already. So as I said in my previous videos, is raised narcissism. Raised to believe you're already super good, they're most beautiful, the funniest one, the most intelligent, the smartest. They've been raised like that for generations and generations to consume more and to believe in the modern generations, actually new generation getting better because the world learned what's going on with narcissism and everything. Not born narcissism. The people actually, they're not psychopaths. They're absolutely normal, healthy people. They've been raised selfish way. They've been raised blind way. They don't see. They can't judge. They don't see the world how they should be. And they need to learn and teach these people to see, listen, come on, let me show you something. What is inside of you? What is inside your metabolic health? What is inside your head? You have a lot of things you just don't see. And nobody likes it. Nobody likes that. But there's a truth. As I say, predictive brain, they predict. And of course, it's very hard to predict and the brain gets tired. because it's too much stimulus during the day, we move around. And the brain is very smart because there's no relaxation in terms of stress, and we need some simulation, if you like. And every single night, they're going through tidying up the mess of the day in our brain. And it's happening when we are sleeping. Our brain trying to play in light form all the possibilities. What could happen? What if? And that's happening mainly in REM cycle. This is dream cycle. We don't remember our dreams. And only 5%. How many of you remember the dreams? You remember them? And do you know that if you practice your REM cycle, you find so much truth in there? If you learn that, it's incredible. And then you talk, your brain is so smart. And you see the world so differently. And if you meditate about the issue, about the questions you don't have answers about, meditate and practice it for a certain amount of time. Your good sleep hygiene, you follow, you take it seriously, the sleep, you learn so much about yourself, and you open up to the truth. And you see, I saw that, and I know what's going to happen. And you predict your future. You can predict your future up to 80% what's going on in situations. If you will learn, if you go to this mind connection to yourself, to mind theory, because we generate these predictions, so much information, mainly emotional, from everywhere. And during the sleep, we test them and resolve possible scenarios. What if that's going to happen? And they replay in the brain at all the different scenarios. Maybe you know that they all probably experience a deja vu, and something happened and you think, my God, probably from my previous life. This is not previous life. That you already played the situation in your dreams. And you have a feelings that something in here. Mainly it's happening when you meet this person, love, romantic partner, and fall in love. You get so close. It seems like you know the person, or you know the area. You've been here before, the street. No, never been in this city, but you dreamed about this city. You dream and you get the expression, you walk here and I recognize it. It seems like, I don't understand where. That was a dream phase, that you dreamed about it. Your emotions, you live the emotions and you recognize them. And cognitive, you've gone through this lesson and you recognize the pattern. So in how, wow, yeah, I recognize the place. I recognize the person. And I know it's going to happen. That will be good. You got this positive emotion, very positive to someone. You want to befriend because you know your brain already played this scenario, or you have very negative emotion. Wow. It seems like I have some negative, unpleasant emotion about you. You read some information, and during your sleep, you probably already played what can happen. And what happened? Sure, negative emotion straight away. You don't want to talk, you're closing down, and you withdraw. You start to avoid somehow because that is a feeling deja vu, and you choose not to go if you're stressed. It's enough with my life. So deep sleep is like a different phase. So I remind you, I want to short it. They have a REM and non-REM cycle, rapid eye movement, and when the body is paralyzed, and deep sleep. And REM is a lot of immediate better future in REM phase. So if you want to see the predict future, and as I said, meditate before you go to bed, practice your sleep, and meditate quiet for a while, and you'll see eventually you'll be able to predict your future by yourself without psychic. You'll be great. Sleep helps to wake up wiser. That's the reason why, because going through the experience and quite relaxed experience in the night and not even aware of, you're getting much smarter. Every single night we're going through experience, through the emotion, we're getting smarter. And what is the difference? Why we're getting so much smarter? Because during the sleep, our fear center switched off. We don't have noradrenaline, and our body is paralyzed. As a result, even very negative emotions and negative scenarios where we are living, we're going through without fear. The same emotions will be experienced in your life. And sometimes it might be very drastic and very intense, like horror movie or nightmares. Events are reshaped. They place new storylines. If what's going to happen, this, what to do, and how to do. And that, if this happened in real life, your brain predicts. You know how to react. You know what to do. If you don't know, go to sleep and take a decision next morning, next day, and try to connect again. Ask, what should I do? Don't rush with your decision. Take your time. This is the dream when you dream vividly and you don't remember, but you create this frame of action. Yeah, your future. You frame your possible outcomes. That's why as well we waking up less bothered by yesterday event, less angry, and we feel like relief. Deep sleep is a non-rapid eye movement. The eyes is a different phase and a very important part of sleep. Deep sleep, deep in emotional noise. And deep sleep is a place where we do detoxification, tidying up, and polishing everything. It's a lot of lymphatic system start to kick very actively. And what more important is also our waves in the brain slows down. And theta waves, super, super slow waves, is creating this emotional unlearning, these negative emotions. Everything would being very, very intense gets shaped. It's like water waves, these waves shaping the sharp edges, creating the pain of that pain. That's why when they think about breakout or past relationships, because usually it's very painful relationship or severe event, on the end, another memories, they're less painful. We forget about them slowly. And thank you to this theta wave and deep sleep. The brain replaces emotional experiences and reduce intensity of these negative emotions and calm our nerve system down. Amygdala get decreased and we get less emotional. So that's why sleep is so important. Take a sleep as a second life. Is that important? It's super important. And you'll get so much wiser. You will be able to emotionally and cognitive growth. If you don't sleep, you have a sleep deprivation, you lose so much. You lose so much knowledge, prediction, the ability to control your emotions and grow in terms of your vision. If you reduce your sleep, what's happening? You get more blind. And as a result, we all, unfortunately, getting older, we have sleep deprivation. And as a result, we all eventually will have our brain degradation and will be more narrow in terms of our thinking. And during deep sleep as well, they have less stress hormones. Cortisol drop to the lowest level before the race. Yeah, that's why the deep sleep is very important. And the early of the night, late at night, REM cycle and dream cycle getting much longer. Yeah, so that's why make sure you have very good first 4 or 5 hours of sleep, essential sleep. But REM cycle getting much longer later on, so 7 hours, 6 hours, depending on the person. Sleep is the best meditation, is the best what you can choose. We come back to memory. We know the memory shaped, but is shaped not the way you think. It's not the same what you write down. My name is, you remember that automatic memory. Majority of the memories is remember differently because they're linked to our emotion. And during the sleep, we selectively present the meanings, not details. Memories are not replayed like recordings, they're constructed by the dreams, by the mood, by the meaning of what's going on, and by the importance, by other values. And REM cycle, this dream phase, creating this adaptiveness and changing everything. So everything that was happened get replayed with different scenarios, and as a result, the memory change and is not true anymore. The more time passing through the event, the less precise your memory gets. Again, so many different studies from, you can find a lot of scientific evidences in terms of memories, not precise human memories at all. They can't rely on them. And because of sleep, because this storytelling and this practice of the event what's happening is positive or negative event, then anyway, this event will be reshaped. And if you ask, things about the youth and the facts, it will be so different. But that is normal. We have narrative truth, selective truth, not historical truth. And this is also the danger and the risk then we're trying to revisiting history or trauma from the past, and therapists should be very, very careful how they do that, assess person, I would say, experiences in the time post-trauma, then the trauma happened, because then you're reviving all these painful memories. They won't be the same anyway. They will be already reshaped. And what can happen, the new predictions and new trauma, because we're coming back with other thoughts, will depend in terms of how we lived, what types of life we got from the time of the trauma to the journey that we are now. And if that journey been hard, it's better not to come back. If this journey was quite joyful, if it was a lot of good events and that person can describe that actually after this traumatic event, my life changed was so much better, then they can try very carefully to get in there and trying to work in the trauma. But if life after trauma being quite miserable, ideally we don't want to get there. Don't talk to someone after drastic event, what happened, and the person experienced a lot of negative events in their life after this traumatic event, because the trauma and negativity will be much more. It'll be re-traumatized double because of negative events and negative recordings, new experiences that link to this trauma. And of course, reading. I love reading and I encourage everyone to read. And of course, Willful Blindness is book number 1, but I recommend, because the most hardest truth that we don't want to accept, why we ignore things, why they ignore red flags, why they don't want you to learn about them, why they see them and they still going through them and don't stop them. Another quite good book is Being Wrong. It's a book when different stories. I quite enjoy reading it. I think it's quite okay to read different examples. And why it's very important, because you're not alone. Everybody does mistakes. That's human. And our anxiety, usually, the stress we all experience because we don't want to be this clown if you do a mistake. And they're anxious about the future. If I do a mistake, my life will be bad. No, we all do mistake. Relax about it. And more you will learn about it, the more you'll be able to control your emotions. And of course, Paul Ekman, Emotions Revealed. When you able to recognize faces and feelings from yourself and others, record yourself. They have living in such amazing technologies. Then you can even see what is my voice, what's my body language, how do I look next to this person, pictures and feelings. Learn yourself. Discover your loved ones. Discover your partner. We think we know our friends. We think they know our loved ones, but they don't. And then they open these eyes like a beautiful flower. We can manage our stress much better. That was the end for today. And I truly enjoyed this lecture. I think it's very important. And that's it. That's it for today.